Hello, everyone. I have a special guest for you guys tonight. I got someone I met maybe a couple weeks back. He's an incredible guy. His name is Dana Jones. It's a pleasure to have him. Thank you, Dana Jones, for appearing here today with us at the Real Estate Deli. Let us know about yourself a little bit and your come up and your infectious attitude and personality. Tell us about yourself, brother.
That's what's going on, man. Thanks, Mondo. Thanks for having me. So, as you can see, like Mondo said, my name is Dana Jones. I actually come from Baltimore, so come from like you heard of Baltimore, the Wire, and all that type of stuff. So I come from Baltimore. Grew up over there selling cars because I kind of like been on my own. So I was like 15 years old, so it was like had to like kind of find my way in entrepreneurship. So I started off selling cars, and then I realized one day after seeing somebody at the auction. I hopped into the real estate realm. So at one point, I was selling cars, and cars was my everyday money. And then I would get a piece of real estate. I would get that fixed up and sell it. That would be my savings. And when I got into the real estate market, it was a little tough, because I thought it was like the same thing, like the cars, because of the concept. But you had to learn about crews and scope of work and all that type of stuff. So I kind of got myself through the real estate and just realized that this is a good thing. I realized that whether you're homeless, whether you're renting or buying, you have to kind of be in a place. You don't want to be homeless, so you want to either be renting or buying. So I figured real estate is a necessity. It's not a want, it's a necessity. So that's why I kind of chose to get in that world and just kind of like, dominate it in my space pretty much.
That's incredible. Did you lean on anyone when you crossed over into that journey? Because, sometimes we step into a space we don't know, and sometimes we get conquered by fear and we don't make nothing happen, right? Was there anyone that you leaned on in that process?
I mean, when I first got into it, like I said, my buddy at the auction, he introduced me to it. But when I first got into it, it's like I kind of was like learning the hard way. So I was just kind of like learning as I kind of like went along. So after like a lot of mistakes and things of that nature, I kind of like linked into somebody else I know that was in it, and he kind of like, he helped me out. So I guess he was like my first mentor in the area. He helped me out and told me you got to get a good, reliable crew that you can depend on. So that way right there, you don't make all these costly mistakes. So instead of you tapping out so fast, you get the crew, you start putting your scope of work and everything in order, then you can kind of like grow from there. So that's when a light bulb hit about getting a mentor and all that type of stuff, because it's like, I mean, it's hard for one person to do it all by themselves,
Yeah, there's got to be some type of systems and processes along the way to encounter those pitfalls, right? That they're gonna come, especially when you're a newbie and you know what's going on, right? You're gonna get hit in all directions, right? Did you fix and flip them? Did you hold any of them? What was the process behind that?
Yeah, well, like I said, I started off fixing and flipping pretty much. So, I mean, when I first got into it, I thought, you see a house. I think my first one was like 50 grand. So you see a house, and I didn't know nothing about like financing. So the first one I was going to get, the guy told me it was like 60,000, and I sold a lot of cars and saved that up to go buy that house. And then by the time I went to get it, it was gone. So then I got another house, and I believe that one was like 50,000. So I got that cash, and I just would spend my own money out of my pocket to fix these up. So I mean, I know now going further, you had to like raise capital and you got to leverage capital and stuff like that. But when I first started out, I mean, I didn't know about a mortgage or nothing like that. And it's crazy because I own a mortgage company now, but I was just using my cash that I was getting from the cars. I was flip flopping. So sell a lot of cars, buy a house, sell it, get more cars, and just letting one of them just kind of like feed the other pretty much. So that's how I got started.
Cycle of the market were you in at that time when you started? What were the years that you started this journey?
Man, so you figure this 2024, I would say like 2004. I don't say like it was that long ago. It was like, it was like 20 years ago. It was like, it was like 2000, it was like 2004.
Wow.
So then from doing like a couple like flips, then I realized like, hold up, I got to keep hustling for this over and over and over again. So then I start pretty much grabbing houses and renting them out. And then before I moved to LA, I was actually getting like 4-bedroom houses, turning them to 5, and I was renting out rooms. So that was like where I seen like a lot of cash flow. I was like, instead of me selling this and making like 50 to 60,000, I'd be better off just getting that cash flow and just let that kind of like take me like to where I need to go.
Okay, so you went from that transactional situation, let's say selling properties, right? That was just a hard close, and you have to then source another property, look on for other opportunities, and then you kind of, I guess, transition to holding some of these properties and seeing the cash flow and seeing that benefit of that recurring what you call it
Income.
right, that you're getting paid every week, I mean every month, and now you're seeing the fruits of your labor in a different way, right? So that's a great transition. And did you ever quit your main job while this was going on, or did you still keep on working?
Yeah, I started young, so my main job, thank God, I always say thank God, I started young, had 5 kids. I only had one job in my life. So I
Okay.
worked at MCI. So I worked at MCI. My first 6 months there, I was a sales rep selling long distance service. Then after that, I got promoted to a supervisor. So other than that, like I said, I just been kind of like on my own. Like since I was a kid, I used to get money from my father when we go to Six Flags and go to the amusement parks. And like my cousins and them, they would kind of like spend that money. I would just kind of like save my money. So I would buy a little stuff, sell it. I would cut grass for people, shovel up the snow. So I just always like had an entrepreneur spirit. So I always told myself, I really don't know how to work for nobody else, because if I have to go to the bathroom or something like that, they're like, hold up, it's not your 15-minute break. And I'm like, yo, hold up, what you mean? So like I said, I started out with 5 kids. I started off when I was 17. So from 17 on to 22, I had 5 kids. So I just had to kind of like get out there and kind of like work hard. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome how you fostered that entrepreneur spirit and let it be a part of your life, right? And not be caught up in the rat race and, like you said, having to take a break and having put in for vacation time, all these things that kind of pigeonholed you in when you're in that workforce world, right? I was in that world for 28 years, so I understand that side of the workforce as well. And that's and once you step away from that space, you have to then recondition yourself to what you want to become, because you're stuck in that rat race, let's say, and you're that, right? You sit in a lunchroom with people, you talk about your job, how much you don't like your job, whatever it is, and the conversation is never growing, right? It's always kind of complaining, let's say, right? And that's a process in itself that I had to make a mental note of it, and said, if I want to transition to another space, into the real estate space, I have to condition myself to make these changes. And it's a lot of mindset work. And I did that for the last 5 years that I was employed. I separated myself from the pack. I said, I have to then be on myself. Lunchtime, I would sit outside. I'm in New York City, so in the summertime, I would sit outside, read a book, listen to some audio books, and just be in my own space, right? Kind of recondition myself. I used to take the train to work. The train station, I used to go to 14th Street, the last stop, 8th Avenue. What I did, I was conscious of what was happening. People would run to the door, run up the stairs to catch the next train. I had to stop that. And I said to myself, you're going to be the last one to get off the subway car, right? So now you're setting the tone. You're going to be the last one to get off this car, and you're going to walk up the stairs and walk down the platform to the other stairs. And lo and behold, those same people that were running to that same stop were there, right? So I did all these little incremental steps to remove myself from that prior world, right? So I get when you say about, being pigeonholed to a job, which fortunately for you, you weren't, and you were creating your own opportunities, which is awesome. You did mention that you then moved to California. What was the transition to that? What made you move to California?
Man, so like I say, like living in Baltimore, I kind of like feel like I was kind of like at the top of the ceiling. So it's like I actually came out here to LA. I went to the All-Star game in 2011. I'm at the Staples Center, and I came out here. I was like, yo, I think I'm doing my thing in Baltimore. But I said, they living out here.
Go Lakers.
So, yeah, yeah, my man Kobe was doing his thing. Yeah, yes. I was like, so they was like, I was like, they living out here. So came out here in 2011. I came back 3 months after that. Then I came back like another 2 months after that. And then I just freaking just stayed out here. And I just kind of like stayed out here and just felt my way. And then long story short, I had a buddy of mine. His name is Joe. He was selling cars with me as well. And he moved out to LA like 3 years prior to me. And he just, one day, I remember I talked to him on the phone in Baltimore. I was on my balcony living down there in the inner harbor, talking to him for like 3 hours. He's like, man, you think you're doing something in Baltimore? I'm telling you, man, you got to come out here. It's going to motivate you. It's going to allow you to grow. You're at the top of the ceiling, man. You got to live life. You don't have one life. He just and keep in mind, I would just see him at the auto auction and say, "Yo, what's up? What car you got now? Oh, you got the Benz. I got the Benz. Boom, boom, boom." So we would just see each other like hit and miss. But this was, like I said, like a 3-hour conversation. And I got off there. I was like, "Yeah, yo, you're right. You only got like one life to live. You might as well freaking bet on yourself." And this, I mean, you want to make the most out your life pretty much. And then, being as though I had kids, I want to kind of be in an environment or situation so I can actually set my kids up for like a legacy. So I just, like I said, once I came out here, like my third time, I just freaking stayed out here and just found my way.
That's awesome. I love California. I love to visit. I've been there a couple times. I didn't get fortunate enough to watch a Laker game. I went off season, but I went around the Staples Center, took some photos and whatnot. But it's a great place to be at. You know, it's incredible. So, did you bring your family when you first moved out, or did you make the journey yourself just to
Now,
plant some grounds?
so when I first came, no, it's almost like when you're a king or you go into like a foreign land, it's kind of hard to bring your family to somewhere where you don't know where you're at. So I came out here on my own. I felt my way. And then in fact, when my kids came out here, I remember I had a 4-bedroom house living out in White Marsh, and it was like nice house, bada boom, bada bang. Over here, I had like a little 1-bedroom apartment in West Hollywood. And my kids, they came, they was laughing like, "Yo, Dad, what's going on? Like, you was living like that." I said, "Yo, I'd rather be at the bottom or somewhere where I can spring up than be at the top of somewhere I can't go forward." But fast forward to now, I mean, I own real estate over here. I own real estate over in Baltimore, but it's like I had to come out and find my way, and then I brought my kids over here.
Yeah, congratulations on betting on yourself, brother. That's a big deal, right?
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Not all of us do that, right? So kudos to you. Let's go back now to how we kind of encountered each other. We belong to a community, is Pace Morby's community, Sub 2, Gator, TCs. In this community, there was an event that was thrown, I believe in April.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was April. It was called Squad Up. And it was kind of the first reunion at that scale for all the communities that are involved. And during that, it was a 2-day, 3-day event, right? A couple-day event down in Orlando, which was incredible. We got to mingle with
networking.
Right? that network, right? It's all there, right? It's all there.
Yeah.
Especially this community. And it was a great time. Every time I go to some events like that, it just changes me a little bit. It just motivates me to be in a different place and then with different people, right? It's a chance to grow, a chance to expand. And that we didn't get to meet in that community, in that event. But in that event, at the end, Pace provided an opportunity for the community to join a niche spot within the community, a subculture within the culture. And that was called Owners Club. And in Owners Club, a lot of people went to that backstage and committed to themselves.
They bet on themselves.
And they bet on themselves. I was flabbergasted when he announced it, and he said, "Everyone who wants to sign up, go to the back." It was a rush to the back. There was as many people in the back as there were sitting down. So incredible rush. I could imagine how he felt when that happened, right? Because it's his idea, and he's probably anticipating, let's see who's going to join, who's not going to join. And I'm sure he was overwhelmed when that happened. So that happened. We joined. There was another event planned, I guess, a couple months out in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
Right? That was a couple of weeks back. That was an awesome 5-day event. Again, with the community. We already kind of met one time prior, right? So the groundwork was kind of set, right? And then the event happens. Let me tell you a short backstory. So we communicate with each other in the community, right? So now we're communicating, let's share Uber, let's share this, let's share that. So I connected with a young lady, and we were landing at the same time at 9:00 in the morning. We had some communication prior to me leaving. I said, we see each other when we land. So I land, and when I turn on my phone, I see that she texts me. She had some issues with her flight, so she was going to be delayed. But what was crazy now, and after thinking about it, she connected someone else on the thread. His name is Jason.
That's what's up.
Right. So I reach out, I land, I turn on my phone, I see Jason just landed as well. I was thinking that we were on the same flight together. I said, "Are you on the same flight with me?" He said, "No, I'm coming from DC area, wherever he's coming from." I said, "Okay, It just so spontaneous. So I was like, cool. We'll meet at the luggage claim. Awesome. We met at the luggage claim. We took an Uber. We connected. We talked about our mothers that we lost. So we built an instant connection on that level.
Sorry to hear that.
It was great to share that experience with someone and know what it really feels when that happens to someone, right? It's, changes your life. So I built an instant connection with Jason. So we check in the hotel, we doing our own thing. Lo and behold, Jason, who I guess establish relationships in the prior meetup, squad up with some other fellas that I ended up seeing Jason at the bar, and he was with a couple of fellas there.
That's
there was
what's up.
Paul, there was Michael, and there was Ali, and they were all there. They were just mingling, taking notes down, and I see Jason standing up, so I walk over to them. I introduce myself. Hey. They was having a beer. I offered them a round of beer, and off to the races. We started exchanging ideas and information, and literally I fell into the pack. Right, I was like the last Beatle, let's say, or whatever, the last Wu-Tang, and we joined forces, and we were inseparable. Ever since that day. Again, they already had established, I guess, a friendship or something from the prior event, so I just fit in seamlessly. And during that event, there was so many people, right? So many incredible people. But so many
people.
Yeah, so it's so many people you can meet. But then I saw you during the event. I said, "Yo, who's that dude with the glasses?" Right? Because that's your thing, right? And you're dressed very sharp as always. You're very dapper. So I was that's my type of guy. I'm from New York, so I see what I see. I said, that's not my type of guy. I'm gonna meet him one of these moments, right? And it didn't happen for us until probably day 3, maybe.
At that mansion party.
That we went to the Wrigley Mansion party.
Yeah, yep.
Wrigley Mansion party. It was we had to take some bus rides over there. It was an incredible setting.
Yeah.
It was an incredible setting. And lo and behold, there goes my man Dana. He's in front of me. I think Adam Lambert was there as well. Shout out to Adam. And my man's right there. I said, "Oh,
I got a story about Adam. Hold on, 600. Was it 600? No, 1100. He was tripping. My man.
He pumping all that weight. So we was kicking and talking weights and all and working out. And lo and behold, Dana shows up, and I said, "Oh man, there's my chance to talk to the guy." So we introduced ourselves. We started kicking it. We kind of knew each other's vibe. He's from the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast.
Yep.
And, he told me about his journey, what he's doing, how he's trying to help the community, trying to help the people. And it connected with me. I have a brother who's kind of in that same space that he was talking about, that behavioral space that we'll get into. And it was an instant connection. And we kicked it ever since. Right. Yeah. There was so many people. We didn't connect probably a little after that with so many people in there. Right. So we kicked it. But I think we ended up on the bus back together again. The old crew kind of connected again with, and that was started a connection. And later that evening, we had our own little moment together that we created, which was called the Owners Roundtable, with all 6 members of the band. And we sat down and we were just reminiscing of the event and all the opportunities that were created and the mindset shifts and all the blessings that occurred during that time. And that's kind of where it cemented it all for us. I believe that we were all together that first night. Well, that night, and we recorded it. We have it documented. We actually posted some of those videos up already. I think Paul has. And that was the onset of our relationship, right? And it's been incredible, when you meet some like-minded people that are following that same journey and just connect, it becomes somewhat magical, right?
Everything, yeah.
You expound on that, how you were feeling, and what was your thoughts on the meetup and the trip? And
the meetup. It was amazing because, like you just said, I feel as though all of us are different, but we all the same, because you had 400 people there, and it's like we wasn't there to say, "Yo, I'm gonna make this money" or had this many houses. Everybody was there with purpose. We was there to try to help other people out, and being as though we're helping others out, then that's how we get blessed. And it's like, I believe all 6 of us came together like that because our steps are ordered. And no matter if it was 400 people, the Lord said, "I want you to meet these other 5 individuals because y'all all in sync. And this is where you build like a sub community. So you guys actually come up together. And that way right there, we can actually be more givers because like I said at the beginning, it's cool to do things on your own and to know this and know that. But when you can connect with one other person, 2 other people, or just 5 other people that have different backgrounds, and we all have the same one agenda, then it's like, man, I mean, you kind of like unstoppable pretty much. And I mean, yeah, that's how it is. Everything was amazing. It was like networking on steroids.
It actually was. It was on steroids. And like I said, we built a bond. We communicate with each other often, right? So we keep that energy and that vibe going, so which is incredible. And you know, we're lucky to be around each other, I feel. You know what I'm saying? I feel blessed. I met you guys, and it was ordained, like you say, right? And it's just, you know, now it's come together. Now it's time to build out what we're going to build out together, right?
So you're right. You're right. I'm gonna tell you I was ordained because I remember you said, Dana, I'm gonna have this seat for you up the front. At the we was in one of the breakout rooms. You said I'm had a seat for you, but I think I was a little late. I was handling something, so I was sitting in the back chilling. So you see me on break. You said, yo, what's up? I mean, I had a seat for you. I said, I got you, and I came up there, and that's when we connected even more. I appreciate that.
I had your seat locked and loaded. It was a 5 of us, and everyone was like, "Where's Dana? Where's Dana?" I said, "Dana's in the building. Don't worry, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get to him." And during one of the little intermissions, I saw him on the cut. I said, "Man," I scooped him right up. I said, "Nah, man, we got you, man. We got you." So we was up in the front because I think that was probably the last day. So after a couple of days, you said, "You know what? Let's move up. Let's get up and close to the scene." So we did that. And we had like front row seats. We were real cool, and I just added an additional seat to the row. I said, "That's for my man Dana," and it all went down. It was beautiful. I loved it. I can't wait to us to get together again, which we be getting together soon. So now let's talk about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, what you forecast in your next 3 to 5 years, where you want to go, where your family wants to go, and what's the step. Let's talk. Let's get into some deli time. What is it that you want to accomplish in this real estate space?
You say in the real estate space. So I would say in a real estate space, it kind of goes over to like my group home. So like I said, it's all about like helping other individuals. So, you know, helping the youth out, bringing them in off the street, troubled youth, people who's maybe getting high off of drugs and stuff like that, bringing them in and then providing like a mentorship program for them, or workforce development, whereas you actually teach them to get a job, or others who want to be entrepreneurs, and you point them in a direction to be an entrepreneur. Or I'm like a bridge, and I'm in these communities, you're in the community, so I got another person I can tap into. Mike's in the community, Jason, Paul, so they can actually tap into those individuals as well, so we can show them how to be entrepreneurs. So being as though once we do that, then it's going to allow us to have like more real estate. So, you know, get some multi-family, so therefore you can have everybody under one umbrella instead of having a single family over here, single family over there. You have some multi-family spaces and have everybody like living in there like one big community. So it's almost like it's almost like, you know, the Lord say you get blessed when you're being a blessing. So you go ahead and you give, you help each other out, and it's like you serving purpose. And by then the Lord is going to make sure that you're okay.
Absolutely. And there's so many people that are deserving of a better life, right? And whatever we can do to provide that, that's an incredible honor, right? But sometimes a lot of these folks, they've been through a lot, right? They've had a lot of adversity in life. And to transition to where you want to become, there has to be some mindset shifts, right? There has to be some growth, and there has to be some stuff that you have to get over, some pains that you have to overcome to reach that other place that you want to be at. Do you help out in that space? Is that something that you do? Like you said, you like to bridge to the connection where you want to go?
Yeah. And like you said, the mindset, that's the I mean, that's the first thing. Even like you said, when you went from your W-2 to being an entrepreneur, you had to like attack the mind, because, you know, sometimes you want to do something, but if you don't tell yourself through the power of manifestation that you can do that, or you are going to do that, then it's impossible to do it. So the first thing we are going to work on is the mind. So once we reprogram the mind to get the mind thinking one way, because, you know, you come up, like one mindset is come up, man, work real hard, you do this, you do that, you won't get a good pension, or get this, or get that. But you realize all the hard workers sometimes are the ones in the front line. So it's like, no, we're going to actually teach you how you can actually use your mind and actually believe in yourself and look at yourself as a king or a queen. And we can actually map it out with you to show you how you can actually get to your end result pretty much.
Awesome. And you said also earlier that you have a mortgage company. I know it's ePlanet Mortgage, I believe. right? How long have you
Mhm.
been in business? How long have you been doing that? And where do you service?
With ePlanet Mortgage, we opened it up, I would say like 7 years ago. And there's a funny story with it because, like I said, I was doing fix and flip, and my wife, she was my realtor. So then I noticed, I'm like, hold up, every deal that we do, we got to go to the bank to get money. So I said, why don't we open a mortgage company? And she thought I was crazy, but like 7 years ago, we opened ePlanet Mortgage. So we started off doing like residential mortgage. So that's what we was doing, like conventional, VA, FHA. And then as I started being a part of a lot of these real estate communities, and I believe the rates went up like a couple years ago, I would say like a good like 2, 3 years ago,
Correct.
I'd start like dominating in the fix and flip world, the DSCR world, because I would go to these events. I would say, hey, I do fix and flip over in Baltimore, and I do some over here in LA, but I also own a mortgage company too. And people are like, what? You my boy, yeah, what? Dana, you do, but you got a mortgage company? So everybody just started throwing stuff at me. And I was like, yo, hold up. I like, this might be like a little cheat code. I ain't realized that the mortgage guys. So it's like, I just start doing like all the mortgages. And then, like I said, I love multifamily. So I studied the multifamily space. So then I got into the lending for like multifamily. Um, right now we're in mergers and acquisitions to buy like some businesses. So like right now we're looking at a landscaping business and also looking at a mechanic shop. So it's almost like, okay, let me learn the business funding. So it's almost like I'm like in the mix of like kind of like selling paper pretty much, because you figure everybody need a loan, whether it's an SBA loan, whether it's a fix and flip loan, whether it's a DSCR loan. You need some type of money. If you're not raising the money, you can still raise capital, but you still need some sort of funding. So at ePlanet, we kind of do, yeah, I would say we do it all, and we license to do lending in every state except for North Dakota and South Dakota. So it's a blessing because you're still helping people out.
Well, that's awesome. Cash rules. Cash is king. That money game is very serious. That's awesome that you're in that space. I need to come talk to you, make some opportunities go. You know how we do. That's awesome that you're doing that. Dana, again, thank you for sharing your journey, your story. You've been a blessing to me. I look forward to seeing you soon. There's an event coming up for us in Boston, I believe, in October. I don't know, it's for Halloween. I don't know if we got to dress up or not, but I look forward to spending some time with you. And would you be going to a community camp in July or September?
Community camp in September. So community camp in September, and then I'm be out there with you in Boston in October. Remember, they gave us a challenge too. We had to get that videographer.
We're working on all
Yes, yes, yes,
back
yes,
end.
yes.
We'll touch base on that and how we're moving and grooving on the back end, because we really gonna come out. We're gonna come out stepping out. We're stepping out. The first event, we got to know each other, and now we're gonna separate ourselves within the community, which everyone I'm sure is doing as well. So we all move as one, and it's going to be an incredible journey for the A team, which I call us as well, and it's going to be an awesome experience. I look forward to it. Community camp, for those that don't know, that's a community camp that Pace does for his members up in Montana, Big Sky Country. So that's going to be an event. He's going to break it down for the community into sessions, one in July coming up next week, I believe, and the
Yeah,
other one in September, which I'm also attending in September. So that's going to be awesome. Let them iron out the kinks now, whatever can go right, wrong, or whatever they could do better. Probably in September we get the fruits of their labor. So that's going to be incredible, right? So that's going to be awesome. I appreciate you, family, for jumping on with me, man. I
appreciate you too, man.
look forward to your success and your journey. I know you're gonna make it happen. I know you're a blessing to a lot of people. You got an incredible personality, the way you present yourself, the way you come across, man. Man, you the guy to be around, man.
I
Appreciate you,
appreciate you, man. You are too. Thank you very much.
brother. Thank you, brother.
All right, peace.